Funny, we use Teams, Microsoft Teams. We won't use Zoom because of security concerns.
They, when we had first started, they didn't have an option for streaming it to YouTube. And since we had to share it to the public, Zoom was the only thing I could get to sync.
Yeah.
And it's actually worked pretty well. I mean, I have it pretty locked down. So anybody who comes into the meeting, like they can't come in unless I admit them.
Okay.
And then we always send a link to, you know.
Computer audio.
I didn't hear that. Who said that?
It's not like Steve.
Is that Steve?
He muted himself.
Hey, Stephen. You're muted, Stephen.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, you?
Hi, Steve.
Good. I just wanted to follow Jeff Thomas's explicit rules of being on mute when you enter.
We don't need that sass, Steve.
You did.
We're just waiting on a couple of people.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello? Just waiting on Joe. Joe, are you on board? There he is. Hey, Joe, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, I was having a little bit of trouble getting logged in, but I'm in now.
Okay, you ready to roll? Okay, good. All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the Board of Zoning Appeals, Mayfield Village. It's Tuesday, March 21st, 2021, 6 p.m. This meeting has been duly noticed and will be held in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22, specific to recent amendments made in light of the current COVID-19 declared emergency. House Bill 197, amended by House Bill 404. Under the orders of Governor DeWine, Board of Zoning Appeals will be meeting remotely via electronic means. The public is invited to view the meeting live and can access the meeting through a link posted on the Mayfield Village website at mayfieldvillage.com. Chairman Vitas, Syracuse could not make it tonight, so I will run the meeting. So let's have a roll call then.
Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Mr. Priscilla.
Here.
Mr. Blake.
Here.
Mr. Michelko.
Here.
Mr. Morelli.
Here.
Okay, we have some organizational items to attend to first prior to getting to our full agenda. We have election of the chairman, chairman pro tem, secretary, and planning and zoning rep to the Board of Appeals. Currently, Vitas Syracuse is the chairman. Myself, I am the chairman pro tem. Debbie is the secretary, and representing us at planning and zoning is Vitas. And so we'll hear motions for either changes to that, or we can accept all as the same.
I would move that we keep it the same.
Second.
We have a primary and a secondary. Roll call then.
Mr. DeFranco.
Yes.
Mr. Priscilla.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Michelko.
Jeff.
Okay. Well, carried. All right. Consideration of meeting minutes from August 18, 2020. Need a
I make a
motion?
motion that it's accepted as if John could answer one question from that meeting.
Okay, go ahead.
John, when's the fence coming down?
When is what coming down?
Wasn't the last meeting on that fence on Tom Center?
I'm not sure which, that has to go to the prosecutor.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to remember what we were talking about.
Was that part of that last meeting, John?
Pardon me?
Is that part of that last meeting, that fence?
I'm guessing it is, since Mr. Michelko brought it up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. That's a long time ago, August.
I don't think that was part of those meeting minutes.
Was it or not?
It was
you
not.
have- It was not? Okay, then I guess disregard.
And what was it?
John Milchenko, it was, this one was related to the Mayfield City School District Center School property
Oh, yeah.
with the SMUDA.
Yeah,
So your concerns are with the previous meeting, and your question is relative.
Yeah,
John answered it because it's got to go to prosecutor.
yeah.
Okay. Do we have a motion for then the August 18, 2020 minutes, or any other changes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, before us this evening, we have consideration of case number 2021-01. Applicant is Stephen Jerome at 665 Robley Lane. A request for a 5-foot side yard setback variance from section 1181.07A to allow for construction of a shed, and 2, a request for a 100 square foot area variance from section 1157.06. 3, to allow for construction of a shed. Abutting property owners have been notified. Stephen, can you raise your right hand, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, can you state your case then?
Okay, so what we're trying to do and what we've been looking at for a couple years, we built the pool probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and on the original plan, elevation levels were set in regards to that and to meet those requirements for that project. At the time, there's an existing pool house / shed that with the new pool location was going to be a problem. It hasn't, there's a photo. So that hasn't come down yet. It's affecting the elevation to be corrected that was written on the original plan. So that's reason number 1 of why we want to move it. The other issue that was noted, and I wrote that in letter to landscape architect that did the most recent plan, that obviously those were submitted to you guys. He said that tree is suffocating. The tree is directly up against the current structure. So that's the second reason why we're trying to get the unit had to have the 5-foot side yard setback as opposed to the 10-yard. The current structure that's there is actually it's like 19 by 16 feet. So it's about 300 square feet. So again, obviously that's a structure that was built 40 years ago, but that structure is actually a hair bigger than what I'm asking for the new shed. The new shed is going to be 12 feet wide, be a little bit squattier, a little bit longer, at 12 by 14. It kind of fits in there nice. I just spoke with my neighbor, Marge Camella, who lives adjacent to the that side of the property yesterday. She was kind of just confused what was going on, obviously, and said, hey, there's a process of how this is done. Make sure you understand what's going on. You're entitled to come to the meeting. And she basically was just wondering what it was about. And I said, yeah, we're just taking that shed that was there before and basically rotating it. It's going to be a little bit closer than usually is allowed. That's what we're asking the variance for. But in an effort to get it back and over as far as possible. And she agrees. She goes, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. There's trees and what back there. It's not going to be any different than what's there now. Actually be nice and new and painted, and we'll be able to get the yard elevation correct. We'll be able to keep that beautiful tulip tree from having future issues. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here.
Do the elevation issues affect any other properties?
No, I mean, the elevation issues is affecting my current shed. So basically my elevation should be more rounded where the current shed is, but because the shed's in the way, the current one, it's affecting that. So that's what we're going to move it back.
Is that a contributing factor to the current state of the shed?
Yeah, I mean, there's some mud and stuff that's getting on the concrete and whatnot. The current shed's in disrepair, knowing that it's going to have to be torn down. It's not usable in the setup it is now. So that's something we're going to start working on, taking that down.
He says the size is 12 by 14. I thought we talked yesterday. It was
12 by 24. I misspoke. I apologize.
Yeah.
12 by 24. Yeah, so roughly the same size as the current one, just a little bit narrower and a little bit longer. But that was a little more square.
It's almost the size of a small one-car garage.
Yeah, it's a nice shed that I saw in Costco that I think would be perfect to store. We got a lot of lawn chairs and furniture and pool equipment, vacuum hoses, all this stuff that we're currently storing in that building as best we can, and some stuff stuck in the garage or in the attic and stuff. Temporarily, actually, because we're going to start tearing that one down.
Is it going to be built on site or brought in whole?
probably be built on site. That's what we're looking at right now. I don't think they can get a complete that wide of a unit through the side of the yard there.
If it only can fit through a 6-foot gate.
Right.
John, do you have any concerns about the construction?
I was gonna ask, is there gonna be a pad, Steve, or do you have to put a pad down, or can it be on?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't remember if John and I had a discussion. It might have been 3 weeks or a month ago. I was kind of discussing it, and we were talking
Mhm.
about, getting this meeting set up. And yeah, that was part of it. We're going to build a pad for it to sit on. I think
Okay.
that's the best way to go about it.
All right,
Level out real nice.
because you're close to the sideline and that's where the drainage swales exist, would you be putting downspouts on it and pointing them back
Yeah.
into the?
When John came by yesterday, I kind of showed him. I mean, there's currently downspouts on it now, so that's just going to be duplicated. In
Okay.
The new plan.
And those just go out into the woods, correct?
Those just go back into the woods. Yeah, so we're gonna
Okay.
do the same
Right.
same
Yeah.
thing.
So for anybody that hasn't been there, you live adjacent to the park, your back lot line is like against the park, correct?
No, I'm actually up against Echo.
Echo?
Their houses. You can kind of see their blue house in the background. You can only usually see it in the summer. But that's Echo's got a pretty deep backyard.
Yeah, and I think there's a swale that runs north-south along Echo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's probably 15 feet from my property line. It's not too deep. Echo sits a little bit lower than Robley. So they have less of a elevation change from the front to the back than I do.
Yeah. So I guess my point is a little bit of water that comes off of a couple hundred square feet will probably get absorbed into the ground before it goes sideways, correct?
That's what I'm thinking. Because I mean, even with the current one, it's got, like I said, it's got the downspouts and stuff and some pad on it and stuff. Yeah. So the only issue with the current structure, like I was saying before, is with the elevation with the pool, there's some, and again, it's not finished grass and whatnot. Obviously, it's got to be, leveled out nicely and stuff. So we get some mud on the current structure that,
All right.
obviously
Steve,
we can
last you were
rectify.
explaining that you're gonna try re-swaling some of that to take it away from the.
Yes, yeah. And I think I showed you that other plan that was sent in and approved a couple years ago that has all the existing elevation. We're not changing any elevation with the existing line up against the fence. Everything is going to meet its point, and it'll just continue to kind of go along the side of the fence there. We'll scallop that out a little bit and just make sure that no water enters the neighbor's property. Just kind of just as it's been doing now.
John, did we hear from any neighbors or anything, or it was all approved by the neighbors?
I did talk to Mrs. Camella, and she wasn't, again, Steve pretty much summed it up. She wasn't sure how the process worked and what exactly he was asking for. So I explained it, and then I told her to call Steve and talk to him about it, which apparently she did.
Right. Yeah, we talked yesterday.
Yeah, she didn't sound like she was opposed to anything. She just wasn't sure what was happening.
Fine.
John Morelli, the current requirement is that this can only be 192 square feet, is that right?
Yes, as a
Okay.
tool shed, correct.
And what he's looking for is 288, I think, 24 by 12, if my math is right.
Okay, yeah, but he's asking for 100 more feet, so that would be 292, correct? Was it 196 or 192?
I think it was unless I wrote it wrong. I thought it was 192 was the
Okay. Was the
maximum
limit?
of one. If I cited that right.
All right, so you're looking for 292 if you're looking for another 100 square feet.
Did I hear you
288.
correctly that the existing shed is larger?
Yeah, I just went back out there and double checked it and measured it, and I was coming up with 300 square feet.
So
Right.
So you're
About-
still,
yeah, but right about the same size.
Okay.
A couple feet between the two.
I assume I know where you're going with this. I mean, if he has a shed, does he even need the variance for the size since one already exists?
well, the law probably, it's grandfathered in, but once you demolish it, then that goes away.
Right. And we tried looking at salvaging it, adding onto the back, and I just, don't feel that's the right way to go about it. I don't know. I not really happy with how the thing's even built, but I mean, it's lasted this long, so I guess it was built fairly well.
And our code is a little ambiguous when it comes to sizing, and how you define vehicle.
Yeah,
Right.
well, a motorcycle's a vehicle. You know, a car-
Bicycle
Is
too.
a riding mower a vehicle? Is a dirt
I
bike a
don't-
vehicle? I don't know.
Good question. Good question.
Right. But in your reading of the code, he definitely needs the variance. Is basically.
Yeah, and I think if you go into the definitions in the beginning of chapter 11, I think they talk about vehicle like that's something that you can drive on the street. So I've always determined that to be like a licensed motorcycle or a licensed car.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know, I actually looked at the shed in the condition and the size. I mean, I don't have a problem with the size, to be honest, based on a 1-for-1 replacement. It looks like it's going to be a
Right.
substantial improvement.
I agree, because basically it's like, can I build the same shed almost that I have, only better, and move it a little bit?
Correct.
And slightly less non-conforming.
Slightly less non-conforming, correct?
And I thought we talked last year, and I guess I couldn't find, I thought there was some, if you have a pool, there's other, you're allowed to have a larger building, but I guess I couldn't find it. So I don't know if I was missing something
No,
for like
okay.
equipment and
You
whatnot.
could, if it was, Steve, if it was a cabana that had like a toilet room, a changing room,
That's where that comes into.
cabanas are unlimited in size.
Gotcha. That's
So-
what it was.
That's what it
Can I
was.
come back
Yeah.
with a cabana?
Yeah. I gotta
Yeah.
find a good plumber though.
Yeah.
And John, you said you've already talked to him about height?
The height.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he has to submit the shed to me. You know,
Yeah, I mean, right, yeah, that will obviously do the
I need
process for that.
dimensions and materials and whatnot, but yeah,
Right.
there's no way, the height limit of 15 feet, would be pretty hard to do with that shape.
Right.
So just to be clear here, Stephen, you're asking for a 5-foot side yard setback variance.
Correct.
That's one piece of it, because you're close to the side yard there. And the other piece is you're asking specifically for a 100-foot area variance. So from the 192 to 292. But if you're going 24 by 12, you're at 288. So I think
Yeah, I'd say 288. Accessory use shed size of 288 square feet, 288 square feet.
So do you want to amend your request?
I wrote 288 to
Did you?
288. Let's see, unless I didn't transfer them right. Okay, so I asked, I guess, for a variance of 100 square feet, but yeah, I guess technically, let's see. That should have been 96, 288, because the max of 192 allowed. So it's not 96 square feet. It would be exactly what I'd be asking for if we're going apples to apples.
Okay.
Your application does say 288.
Right. I think in my letter, I wrote 100 feet. I think I rounded up where I shouldn't have. I apologize for that.
Well, let's correct it, make sure it's 96.
Right, right, yeah. And that's what actually on the application itself, that one's correct.
And then any questions or issues or concerns with the 5-foot side back from anyone?
Based on what I saw over there, it won't affect any neighbors or anybody.
Yeah, I agree. That won't do any harm 5 feet closer.
Okay, any other discussion then? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to either accept one or both.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. All together, should we do that?
Mr. DeFranco,
Yes.
Mr. Casella,
Yes,
Mr. Blank,
Yes.
Michelko.
Yes,
Okay, I think that concludes our meeting then, and I believe I can close it, right? Debbie? Oh, John, do you want to revisit the fence issue at this point, since we're done with Steve Jerome's case?
well, John already said it has to go to the law department.
Yeah, we notified that person that his appeal was denied, and he's basically dragging his feet on doing anything about it, so I have to take it to the next level.
Okay, so John, you're going to take it to the next level, to the law department to address.
Yeah, I have to.
Okay.
Was this the tall fence that replaced the
fence-
short fence?
The fence in the front yard of the condos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically saying, he's not willing to agree that you turned him down. So, what could I say?
I apologize for mixing up the two meetings.
No, that's
Between each
okay.
other.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about. I was racking my brain for a minute there going, what fence?
Yeah, I got the meetings mixed up. We haven't seen each other in a long time.
That's true. I haven't seen hardly anybody for a long time.
All right, any other matters before us? Otherwise, we'll close the meeting. Hearing
Motion
none,
to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Aye.
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 Everybody have a great day, great night.
All right. Thanks. Time to eat. See
Thank
you later.
you.